Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 My Team Career Mode. This is episode number 99 today for the Dutch Grand Prix in Season 6. If you guys did miss the previous episode at a very difficult Belgium Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. Yeah, a very, very tough race to take on yet another red flag mishap. Honestly, I saw one comment saying I'm getting Leclerc kind of luck. I really am. I have got Leclerc's luck right now this season, and Leclerc's got my kind of luck because he's leading the championship and he's not even won a whole race. He's not even won a race and he's leading the championship. If that is not the biggest contrast in differences this season, then yeah, I don't know what is. Yeah, unbelievable. We really have swapped fortunes. Yeah, he leads the way, and by quite some little margin, you know, to Jenson Button there in second place, myself a bit further back in third, as you know, Jenson, you know, did at least make a little bit of more progress than us. But in general, both myself and Jenson have been struggling in the last 2 to 3 episodes, sort of, I guess 2 episodes definitely, where our car has just been in a bit of a funk. It's been very odd. Like, other teams have just looked so much quicker. Lamborghini have stepped up a bit in recent races, you know, with Pierre Gasly winning 2 races in a row. That's quite big, you know. They haven't won since the first race of the season, so that's come into play a little bit as well. You know, Lambo, McLaren being up there a little bit, ruffling the feathers. You know, Red Bull was looking a bit better in Monza, obviously, with straight line speed. So it's been tough for us, you know. It's been a, you know, very Brawn GP style sort of season where we dominated the first bit, and now we're really struggling with a car that just is not working in the last 2 episodes. But we come to a very different circuit today at Zandvoort. You know, power doesn't really matter too much. Aero, absolutely. So I'm hoping that this is going to tip things back towards us. Even though, ironically, at Spa, our strongest suit was actually straight line speed. But at Monza, that wasn't the case. It's all a case of how we set up the car. So here at Zandvoort, we'll be setting the car up absolutely for the corners. But we start off qualifying. We start off qualifying with a huge problem here. Look at the engine. What's gone on here? So I changed components. This internal combustion engine was worn at Belgium. I changed that along with the gearbox. You can see the gearbox is 0% worn. So that's proof that I've changed the gearbox. Now, logically, use your brains. If I change the gearbox, of course I'm gonna bother to change the internal combustion engine. This is actually a known glitch in the game where sometimes, every other time, you change a component and as soon as you swap out the menu, it just decides not to change the component. So what's happened here is it's changed my gearbox, which I did change, and I did change the internal combustion engine because obviously it was worn from Belgium. We knew that in the race. So I would have changed it, and I did, and it didn't go through. So brilliant stuff. So you can basically call this a bit of a technical operational error by our team, essentially, because they changed the gearbox, but they did not get the note from me to change the internal combustion engine. Obviously underlying, it's just a game glitch, but we'll make a story out of it, of our team operationally not on the ball today, and you know, maybe losing focus from the last 2 episodes of some tough times for them and for the car, and as a whole, we start off this Dutch Grand Prix weekend on the back foot in the worst possible way. We didn't need this. We needed the opposite. We needed complete attention to try and turn this around. And although, yes, we can get this ICE change done in time to go and set a lap time in Q1, it's not going to matter, because if you were paying attention to the screen whilst I was just talking through everything, and you can see now, we've got a 22 penalty, 22 place penalty, because we've broken Parc Ferme. The Parc Ferme started with that worn engine, and because we've changed it, you know, we get a penalty for it. So I'm going to do a lap anyway, just to kind of see what the pace is kind of like, although I'm not expecting a lot, because I haven't done Zandvoort in about 2-3 seasons on this game. It's actually a new track returning to the calendar, so we don't even have time to practice it a little bit here in qualifying, and we get so much traffic as well, by the way. Tsunoda and Perez slowed me down by at least about half a second in total there, just having to, you know, lift off and maybe not go as committed as possible. But none of it will matter, because we'll start at the back of the grid anyway with the 22 place penalty. this is just to see how we're shaping up. And, oh my god, it's absolute abysmal stuff. 19th place. I mean, I'm going to put that down to me being out of practice with Zandvoort, because Jensen in Q1 is up in P5. So at least that's a little silver lining. The car seems to actually have a bit of return to pace here at Zandvoort in the hands of Jensen there. Lamborghini looking strong again as they, continue to revive themselves this season. Ferrari up there with Max Verstappen, the home favourite. But going into the race then, because I've already now been given a penalty, I thought, you know what, the game screwed me over, but I'm now going to exploit the game a bit, and because we're at the back of the grid, we may as well use the tactic of taking a whole set, a whole column of engine components. So we go ahead and get a new ICE, not an old one that we changed to, a new MGUK, H, energy store, turbocharger, control electronics, and gearbox. So, yeah, if the game's going to screw us over with not changing my component in the first place, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that when we're last place, we can just take a whole new set. And basically now we're sorted for the end of the season in terms of engine components, whereas maybe our rivals may not be. But that's our Saturday over. Let's go to the grid then and check out the grid sequence to see how the rest of the qualifying shaped up for this Grand Prix ahead of us. Let's go to the grid.
So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Verstappen, Russell, Théo Pourchaire, Joe, Button, Ocon, Bottas, Albon, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Drugovich, Sargent, Gasly, Liam Lawson, Fittipaldi, Magnussen, Perez, Mick Schumacher, and the owner-driver rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
When it rains, it seems to pour in Formula 1 a lot of times, and that is the case here today. Look at that grid sequence. Audi, front row lockout at the right time. They have come good at the right time here, because they haven't won a race as a team, and yet Leclerc now leads the championship with his consistency, and now they return to form in qualifying. They haven't been on the front row in terms of a lockout, for some time now, but they've come good again in quali. And Leclerc has been getting better and better in races, That's why he's got the lead of the championship, because he's been picking up little podiums, top fours, top fives. So now he's got an even better chance to maybe get that elusive win and really get himself on the front foot as we go into a crucial point in the season. We're in the last third. If he gets a win today, it might be sealed and done. I can't believe I'm saying that because of the lead at one point that Jensen and myself had as 1-2 in the championship. But Leclerc's got a very good opportunity today, and we have got it all to do from last place. This is what, a race like this today is where we're going to earn our money today and earn our championship maybe, because we have to recover to some sort of good amount of points to try and limit the damage today to not only Leclerc but to Jensen, to Tsunoda as well. But having just said that statement about this having to be a good race, we're not going to start off in the best way. Of course, I've overshot my grid, so I'm even further back than I was before. Here we go then, to 5 red lights, the Dutch Grand Prix. We've got it all to do today, lights out, and we're underway from last place on the grid, but a whole new fresh set of engine components. But it's an absolute field day of cars ahead of us who are going 3 abreast ahead. There are 3 different 3 wides going on ahead. Look at that. That is insane stuff there. But it's also going to slow everyone up as we go into the tight left-hander and undulate through that banked corner. And we go around the outside of 2 cars, Magnussen and Gasly. Gasly also was someone who fell foul in qualifying. So he just had 2 wins in a row. and that's really not what you want, you know, in terms of carrying on that momentum. So maybe Lamborghini again have hit a bit of a roadblock there with some harsh performance in quali, but the Gasly, to be fair to him, sends it back down our inside. He's on the medium compound, and yet he's found better traction around the outside. We bang tyres a little bit. It gets a bit frosty, as it always usually does with Pierre Gasly, but he's overtaken us. The Lamborghini is back ahead in P18, and I underestimated how quick he was off, you know, into that section, basically. You know, we caught him unawares in Sector 1, that maybe he's actually quicker, and maybe he just, you know, there was some sort of error or traffic in qualifying. So let's try and follow Gasly through if we can, and try and use him as a bit of a knife through the field as we go around the outside of Fittipaldi. It's 3 wide momentarily, as Fittipaldi is still actually, you know, side by side with Gasly momentarily there, but we do get the Brazilian driver up into P18, Gasly P17. I'm curious to see what sort of progress that we can make here as we go on towards lap 3. Sainz with the fast lap of the Grand Prix, suggesting that he has still got the race lead then from Leclerc in second place. I believe it's still a 1-2 for Audi as we watch Gasly jockey for position to try and get Oscar Piastri, the Season 3 world champion. Struggling a little bit today, though, in the McLaren on the soft compound tyre. Gasly's got him. We're trying to follow him through on the exit. We get the power down eventually, and we'll actually be able to shoot through in the following little section, but I was quite surprised we couldn't just sling it down the inside fully, and I'm still not feeling 100% comfortable with this circuit. Very limited running, and we get on the grass and we go wide. We have to take to the runoff and slightly go on the grass and over the curb just to not spin the car, because that could have been quite nasty. That section's very slippery on the exit, so it's a mistake there from us dipping a tyre onto the grass, and so far we're not progressing maybe as quick as I hoped, but we just need to go our head down and get into a rhythm. Meanwhile, Jensen, only P10 though. I actually didn't see where he was in qualifying, but so far the race is not going too well for him, P10, so that's a little bit worrying for our overall race pace as we close back up on Piastri. Meanwhile, it was the 2 Audis getting very close together and might be swapping positions. We're going to swap positions with Liam Lawson, so we've made 2 overtakes then. One was a repass on Piastri, but a good overtake on the Red Bull Ford. We're now having a little look at Gasly, but ultimately we actually have to defend against Lawson. Look at that! We had to go fully to the right to block off Lawson, because he actually got a much better exit there. So really not feeling too punchy right now around Zandvoort, but you know who my saving grace is? It's Pierre Gasly. He's cutting basically a hole in front of me through this traffic, and we're kind of basically trying to follow him through as we have a little half look at Dragovic. Probably the wrong way to go. We should have tried the outside pass and fully followed Gasly's line, but we come through now on the Brazilian with DRS, and to be fair, we've got a great run on Gasly, who squeezes us towards the wall. We go defensive on the Haas, and Gasly dives back down the inside. The Frenchman is he's just looking very quick on the mediums, you know, to say we're all on soft tyres and the tyre wear isn't too bad right now. Gasly just got a lot of pace in that Lambo and on those mediums, and here he goes again. Lap 6, nice little dive bomb into the chicane on Bottas. Can't quite get it fully into the first right-hander. We're having a little bit of a loosey-goosey moment on the rear end, as maybe now the tyre wear is kicking in a tad, and to be honest, I haven't mentioned this yet, but I am strongly considering the 2-stop here at Zandvoort, because from past experience it can be very powerful on the undercut as we try to overtake Bottas there, but the problem is I'm being very hesitant because I want Gasly to still be ahead of me. I'm basically using Gasly to get through everyone, because I think on my own, I actually don't think I have the overall pace. I'm being able to get these overtakes done because Gasly's putting these cars in awkward positions when he overtakes them. So effectively, you know, we used to be teammates, obviously 2 seasons ago in Lamborghini AAR. And now we're basically working as teammates kind of effectively, because I'm on purpose letting him stay ahead because we are struggling also now on tyres, very much so lap 9. That was a huge opposite lock save there. I was quite nonchalant about it in the commentary just then, but that was actually quite a big save. That could have been a really nasty spin, but we get the overtake done on Norris. And again, that was only, you know, possible because Gasly is slowing them up, you know, again with Sargent. He's going to overtake him here, and he's going to open up the door for us, but I can't believe I'm having to actually think about an overtake on Andretti again properly here. But here we go, making the move on Sargent, and he actually comes back down the inside of us. That Andretti's actually pretty decent these days. I don't know what they've been doing, but they are starting to cook a little bit in terms of just being a bit of a nuisance if you come across them. But we're through into P12, Gasly P11, so slowly but surely we are making progress. But on this lap, it's time to overtake Gasly, because I'm coming in at the end of this lap. We get a little bit wide there, and it's a little bit frosty. Little, nice little love tap for good measure versus Pierre, just to let him know, yes, I've used you as a bit of a teammate buffer and like an aid, but now we're not friends anymore. We're going to just tap you wide, and I'm going to come in on this lap. Meanwhile, Button has made progress. He's up to P8 then, so he's slowly getting to this race, so like I am. So maybe it's just a case of our car needs to get into a rhythm around this roller coaster of a circuit. Meanwhile, it's still Sainz in first place, but that might just be about to change as we ride on board with Leclerc. Goes for the inside pass. Audi versus Audi, and for the sake of Leclerc's championship, they need to keep this clean, and the constructors, to be fair, because Audi are second in the constructors, and right now they have a great chance, if they were to finish like this, to close up and actually fight us in the constructors as we come in. Whilst they're squabbling, we come in for a set of hard tyres, and it's an early stop, because I'm confirming to you now, I am going for a 2-stop, because I know the tyre wear is pretty high around here at Zandvoort. I will get a big undercut going on these hard tyres, but then eventually they'll be very worn because I'm coming in so much earlier, so we will have to go to another set of soft tyres, but that will basically allow us to start cooking at the end of the episode, hopefully. At least that's the hope, as we now watch the Audis again swapping position. This time Sainz gets back into the lead, but now Tsunoda comes through. Oh no, it's a mistake from Leclerc. He locked up into turn 1. He's opened up the door, and Tsunoda has pounced yet again. Tsunoda, great with the overtakes on this game now in Season 6, and Tsunoda gets up into second place. That's good for Tsunoda's sake, because obviously he's chasing, all of us down. He's chasing Leclerc, myself, Jensen down in the championship, so he needs this. And with how good of an overtaker he has been this season, the previous season, that now gives him a big chance to have a go for P1 on Carlos Sainz now. No longer a stronghold for Audi as we go back to our POV. Lap 14, we set the fast lap of the Grand Prix. We jump a couple of cars up to P17, a few more cars to come. Eventually, as we close up to Kevin Magnussen in the Williams, we were, quite near him at the start of the race, but now we've caught him up, having made a whole pit stop there, just showing the pace we've got on the hard tyres, as we're up to P11 now, which is pretty much where we were before, so we are going to get into the points paying positions by the time others finally make their pit stops, and that's going to include the race leader. Carlos Sainz comes in for an earlier stop than his teammate, then Tsunoda, and we are ahead of the race leader, so that is a good sign of this strategy working potentially. But at the same time, look how close Albon is. He's on mediums. He's actually a bit close for comfort there within half a second, so we need to watch out for that and see how close he is. But there's Leclerc into the pits. Great camera shot. You see us going through on the right-hand side of the screen, that was, and Sainz and Albon are fighting. This is big for us because Sainz now is right behind us. He's not got Albon ahead, so now he's got free reign to come attack us. Meanwhile, Leclerc is behind and Tsunoda continues on. So is he trying to stretch his stint to make sure the tyre wear isn't too bad later in the race? As we dip a tyre into the grass, Sainz comes through. Oh, bit of contact there, as it was a bit awkward. Sainz came in so hot. I was just still on the racing line, trying to keep the car going and not go to the left into the gravel trap. And it's meant that Sainz did tap us a little bit, but no harm done, no damage for him, and he continues to pile on the pressure. But there's Leclerc going for the move on Albon. This is crucial for Charles Leclerc to get that move done so he can be right behind Sainz as we once again dip a tyre into a bit of grass and gravel. We really are not having the smoothest time around Zandvoort, but right now our strategy is working out. We're P1 now, like legitimately. Obviously we have a pit stop to make, but we are P1. Everyone's made their stops now. Button's come out in P8 still, so he's not lost any positions in the pit stop. Tsunoda, P6, he has lost positions to Verstappen and Albon, but because he went so much longer on his tyres, now his current set of tyres should be looking better for the rest of the race, because I am assuming most of these guys are all trying a one-stop to the end, so right at the end, tyre wear is going to be very high, as Sainz makes an error! Sainz with a mistake off the exit, a little bit of oversteer, and Leclerc is invited through round the outside. Now that is big stuff here for the championship, for Leclerc's championship, up into P2. Remember, once I pit, he will take that lead, so that's huge for the man from Monaco. Things are really going his way, it would seem, as behind there's a ferocious fight brewing. Ferrari versus McLaren versus Aston Martin. Yuki Tsunoda around the outside. Can he get both drivers? Oh, epic 3 wide shot. Oh, what's happened there? Leclerc's locked up. Oh, I didn't know what was going on. Where did that Audi come from? Leclerc, he's locked up. Oh, I've commentators cursed him. I just said everything was going his way, and he just locked up from P2. Sainz is back in second. Can I do that every lap? Does that work every lap? I would love if that worked every lap, because then we could absolutely get back into this race and this championship fight. But that was uncanny. That was the biggest commentator's curse we've done for a few episodes now, as we now ride on board with Verstappen going for the lunge. The Ferrari on the outside, and the home favourite, the home star, is up into second place, which will be effectively P1 once I make my pit stop, which is coming, I think, on this lap, by the way. But we've done very well to be 1 second ahead of Verstappen. You know, Leclerc and Sainz's swap actually got us out of DRS, so that was really good for us, because we've done very well on the tyre management. And the fact that we've kept all these guys at bay on much older hard tyres is really great. But it was a big thanks to Sainz and Leclerc swapping to get us out of DRS. And then Verstappen fighting Sainz and overtaking him also gained us a bit more time. But we're now in for another set of soft tyres. And it's a brand new set of softs, obviously, because we had 3 or 4 sets left from qualifying. You know, obviously, because we only did 1 run and we were knocked out then. So this is going to be as fresh as we can get it. We've got 10 laps to go. We're going to come out in P16, maybe even 17. Where's Schumacher? No, we'll get 16. So we're way down the order, P1 to P16 in 10 laps. How far can we get? Let's find out. At the end of that same lap, on our out lap onto lap 27, well, we're already gaining on Oscar Piastri. DRS battery use gaining on the McLaren. Purple last sector, so that's a sign of the pace to come. And look at that on the outside. It's a double overtake on the 2 former teammates, Norris and Piastri. 2-for-1 deal, and we go round the outside for Sargent to get the 3rd overtake on the top of the carousel. Great bit of traction there, and we're finding the groove. And these tyres, let me tell you, they feel godlike compared to those worn hard tyres, as we set a different fast lap of the Grand Prix. We beat our own fastest lap from the hard tyre stint, and we close up to Valtteri Bottas trying to set up this move again on the outside of the carousel. When you've got the tyre grip, I love this outside move, because although you do get slowed up in the initial first bit, you get such a great exit V'ing off the entire corner. And now we gain on Russell, who has a bit of a wobble going into the right-hander. Now down the hill, we send it through, hit the curb, and we get up into P11. 4 seconds now, the gap to Gasly, and it's a big train then. Gasly to Albon, Ocon, Joe Guan Yu, Sainz down in P6. Ooh, Sainz is struggling here. I mean, again, that's great news for Leclerc. He's the lead Audi. He's the Audi that needs to be still up there, so that's very good for him. But Button's recovered very well. P5, that's very solid for Jensen, but obviously he'll be wanting more. Tsunoda P3, Leclerc second, but Verstappen still leads the way. But Leclerc is close behind. Are we about to see Verstappen v Leclerc reignited in a very different form here in this alternate F1 universe? Obviously, the Dutch home crowd will be loving the fact that Verstappen is leading the way in a Ferrari nonetheless. That's pretty great for him as we gain on Gasly. You can see every corner we're gaining a 10th here and there. Yellow flag. Oh no, Verstappen's slow. I can't believe it. I've done it again. The commentator's curse is real. Verstappen is slowing up. It's absolute pain. Pain and more pain for Ferrari on this game. Verstappen in his home race leading for Ferrari It's a DNF with 6 laps to go. Unbelievable. Oh my god, Leclerc's in P1. Leclerc's P1. Oh my god. Is this going to happen? Leclerc, he's not won a race so far. Is this going to be it? He leads the championship already, so this will be massive for his lead. But Tsunoda's there. He's only 1.4. And remember, Tsunoda has fresher tyres because he went longer on his first stint. So this is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. And it's not over for Jenson Button, who's coming through for P3 now. All of a sudden, it could be a podium for our teammate. Very good recovery, considering at one point he was stuck in P10, and he finishes off that move on poor chair and does in fact get P3, as we now close up to Albon, sling it down the inside, then set ourselves up for the next section. 3 cars all very close together. One of them, Sainz, he's really struggling, and Sainz, remember, was one of the first people in the top flight to pit, so just showing that really that tyre wear is making a difference. Those couple of laps earlier are now haunting Sainz, and that's maybe an ominous sign for maybe Tsunoda closing up to Leclerc rapidly, because if Leclerc, he's doing a great job right now, but surely, I don't know, why is Sainz the only one struggling? Like, surely Leclerc is going to maybe start struggling potentially, so we'll focus on that a little bit later though, because right now we're focused on our move versus Gasly and Sainz. Those two are neck and neck. Audi versus Lamborghini. They share the same parent company, but we sling through on the inside of one, and then we look for the pass on the other, but Gasly does well to defend, and we have to be patient in our move versus the Frenchman, versus our old teammate that we actually used to help us out earlier in the race, but now the gloves are off, and it's time for the overtake, and surely this will be a slam dunk, cut across the racing line, and it is. We're up to P7, and we look to chase after Esteban Ocon. Then Zhou Guanyu only 2 seconds further ahead of Ocon, so I'm really hoping a P5 could be on the cards, as Mick Schumacher is out of the Grand Prix at the end of lap 32 onto 33. 3 laps to go then, and we're going to be in P6, I hope, by the time we get to turn 1. And then we chase after the top 5, hopefully. But look at the bottom right. Fuel, is that going to be an issue for us, potentially? Because we're negative right now. Going to have to keep a bit of an eye on that. Meanwhile, later in lap 33, Leclerc, bit of a wobble on the front end. I think it was a lock up there. He's gone a little bit wide. And look how close Tsunoda is now. That one corner has got Tsunoda right there. You can just tell he's got the better tyre wear with the way he closed up and the traction he's got. We ride on board. He's got DRS open. Leclerc, though, just doesn't even bother to defend thin air. Does very well just to back himself into that corner. But Tsunoda is also playing a patient game here, because the better move is into turn 1. That slingshot through the final corner banking. DRS open for the Aston Martin Honda. He's gaining on the Audi of Leclerc. Tsunoda pulls out to the left. Leclerc defending the inside line. They're going to be side by side into turn 1. The Aston Martin, though, round the outside with the better tyre wear. You know what? That move was made by Tsunoda, pitting about 3 laps later than Leclerc, than everyone. That was a long play by Tsunoda and by Aston Martin, and it's worked for them, because in the last 3 laps, Leclerc has lost the lead of this race, and Tsunoda is in P1, but That Audi's quick though, so let's see, because actually onto the second last lap, lap 35, Leclerc comes back at Tsunoda. This is wonderful. We've got a proper battle for P1. Leclerc on the inside, but Tsunoda is just going to use that outside line again and just pick up the traction much better because of that better tyre wear. If Leclerc has another chance, he has to go for the outside pass, because he actually needs to be on the exit near to the racing line, which is the left-hand side. Meanwhile, we are closing on Zhou Guanyu. You know, the gap is what, 1.6 there is. Oh, look how close Leclerc is. He's close, and he's going to go for another pass, but he goes to the inside again. Tsunoda squeezes him a lot harder this time. Oh, he's very far ahead in the brake zone. Leclerc could do this. No, Tsunoda picks the traction up. They're still neck and neck into the next right-hander. I've got to give it to Leclerc. He fought that a lot harder. The fact they were still side by side into that next right-hander was really good. But Tsunoda just has that little bit extra grip, and he remains in first place on the last lap. And on the last lap, well, I was 1.5 seconds behind Zhou Guanyu. But on the last lap, if I had no fuel issues, I could have definitely maybe caught Zhou Guanyu right by the last corner, maybe. But I've got to lift and coast. I've got to get to the end here. I cannot jeopardize P6 points today because of a fuel issue as Leclerc opens DRS for one last time potentially through the chicane, slings it through. He's close. 4/10 the gap is to Tsunoda, but Tsunoda keeps it cool, calm, collected through the final corner. He's going to come through. It's going to be the race win at the Dutch Grand Prix for Yuki Tsunoda and Aston Martin. Leclerc, though, it's still a great second place. Again, he outscores myself, he outscores Jensen, and it's without a win. He is literally doing what I usually do in championship fights. Just consistency, getting you that championship lead. P6 from last place is great for us, but it still feels awful compared to our rivals. It's a tough one to take.
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here in Zandvoort, but they've done so in spectacular style. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, they managed their tyres to absolute perfection. A tyre whisperer, in fact. And that is what set them apart.
The Aston Martin team will be very happy with today's performance. And of course, the final result. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork. And a well-deserved first place finish.
Leclerc leads the championship by 11 points to Button, 18 to Tsunoda, 26 to me. I'm in P4, 26 points back. I'm pretty sure there's only, 4 rounds left or 5 rounds? Next episode's our 100th race as a team on this game. If we do not gain points on all our rivals next race, I think we actually have to fully admit we're not in the fight anymore and we have to back Jensen. I can't believe I'm saying that. It's crazy, but yeah, Leclerc and Tsunoda have come through and done really well. Jensen on the podium, all 3 of my rivals on the podium, and I'm nowhere near it. Yeah, next race, race 100, needs to be good for us. Guys, if you've enjoyed this one, though, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.